We're right here, and this is it. My GPS has been taking me all over the place, but I finally got here, and here we are. We're going to ride right into the lake. This is another lake. This is huge. Look at it. This is Settlements Lake, I think, or Settlers Lake or something. Just out of Featherston. Beautiful. I mean, it looks huge, and it is huge, but it isn't really. Go a bit further. We're nearly in there. You can even hear it. I'm just at the Domain Lake, which is just out of Featherston, and really enjoyed it. Really enjoying it here. It's huge. It's a huge place, and there's lots of space. I'll show you. I'll put my periscope up and I'll show you. And as you can see, the lake is just through my window. So I've got a beautiful vista of it. This is what I'm looking at in the morning. And that's just past the little old tikaka tree. Made my coffee. Bought myself a donut yesterday at that funny shop. Oh no, I didn't buy it at the funny shop, I bought it at a Four Square. I'm having that for lunch. Now this is for breakfast. This is a really nice little place. The only thing is that they don't have any water. Well, not that I could see. They don't have, they have toilets, but they're long drops, which I'm just not going to go back into again. I mean, they're modern long drops, and they're quite clean, but they don't have any aeration. So, yeah, I don't think many women would want to stay here more than one night after realising, you know, you've got to go miles and miles to find another camp, so there's nowhere else you can go once you've come out here, because it's quite a way out from Featherston. Well, it's, you know, it's an extra little drive out of Featherston. And if you're not familiar with the area, you could be going round and round in circles trying to find it. And there's no rubbish facilities. So I'm going to have to go into town and take my rubbish. But otherwise, I'm really enjoying it here, and I've enjoyed my camp this time round. Because I suppose because I'm not worrying too much about, oh, where will I get my water from? What about the grey water? What about the black water? Oh, and that's the thing. That's the thing that the regulations, these new regulations for freedom camping are doing. They're causing us a lot of anxiety. So we can't really enjoy camping out in the open. Not that I am out in the open. But I've got my little camper van. And she's awesome. She takes me everywhere. Even down gravel roads and pothole roads. She's a real good van. So, over there, I'll show you. I see some guys are over there with their dogs, so they're probably fishing full on. I went over there for a little walk, but I see the dogs and I just thought, oh no, because they won't know who I am, and I'm coming into the area where their owner is. So that's okay. I like the fact that there's hardly any people here, but there are some people. Yes, I've been thinking. Kia ora, and welcome to Story Time. I wanted to have a special time for a story in this video, because this is about a lake, a beautiful lake, and I put the title of this video as The Moody Mystery Lake with a Sad Past, because it is a moody mystery lake. It's part of it, when you look at it, it looks very sad. It doesn't look alive. And yet on a sunny day, it's beautiful, glistening and sparkling in the sun. But it has a sad past. And so that's what the story's about. So when I first came into the area, because I like to go tipi haere all over the place, and I wanted to camp in this area. And so when I was looking it up on the camping app, it said Settlements Lake. And I thought, okay, Settlements Lake. So I went into the area and I couldn't find Settlements Lake in terms of on the map or in terms of signage. But I saw Reserve Lake, I saw Settlements Road, I saw Domain Lake, and yeah, so the signage itself was a little bit like ambivalent, or a little bit confusing, I suppose. Eventually I found the road. It was almost by accident, and I went down onto the road, and the road itself is called Settlements Road. And I went and I got to the domain, which is the land part, the whenua part of that lake area. But the name of the lake itself, which I found out later on, was the Wairarapa Moana Lake. And it's a very beautiful, big body of water. So just sit back and relax, and I've got a little story I'd like to share with you. It's called The Moody Mystery Lake with a Sad Past. Once upon a time, there was a lake, and the people who lived by this lake and who owned it were having trouble with the new settlers who had come into the area. They were after land and resources for their farming settlements. But the people there didn't want the lake to be affected by these farming settlements. They felt that it might be polluted, and they knew that its water would be used, and therefore the water level would drop. Because it would be used, the water would be used, sucked out of the lake for the irrigation of their large farms. So in 1896, the people who lived there, the Ngāti Kahunganga people, the Rangitane people of the South Wairarapa, thought the best thing to do was to put it under the protection of the Crown. The Crown being the other treaty partner. And so they gifted it to the Crown in 1896. It was a chiefly gift. So, in other words, there was a reason, a very, very important reason why they were gifting this lake to the Crown. And they did it because they felt that there were rising tensions happening within their area, with the new settlers coming into their area. So over the years, the promises made by the Crown to these people to preserve and maintain the health of the lake were forgotten, and they just went by the board, and the lake wasn't protected. And so over the years, with the lake never being protected from, being used for irrigation, being polluted, its water levels dropped, its water levels depleted, and that also affected the water life and the ecosystems connected to the lake and the water system. So the overall health of the lake plummeted. The lake was considered a food basket, which it probably was. I think they have a lot of eels in there, or they had a lot of eels. It started dying. And so probably by the 1900s, it would have been quite obvious that the lake health was of a real concern. And that would be shown because of the water life and the fish life. There was also the introduction of exotic fish, which would have killed off the native fish, and also the introduction of exotic water plants that may overwhelm the native plant life that existed in the lake. And so the lake started to die. And of course, 124 years later, the Crown, which is a good thing, but the Crown has given back this lake to the Ngāti Kahungunu people and the Rangitane. Where's for where, but they gave it back. It was part of a treaty settlement. The first owners, the iwi, believe that the lake is dying. They believe that because of the drop in water levels and the effect on the ecosystem and the pollution and the introduction of exotic fish and plants and everything else has affected it, and it is now in a very bad state. But the good thing is they have it back. So the iwi are wanting to have decided, the local people, the iwi, they have decided that they need to work together with the rest of the community to bring life back to the lake. And to bring it back to what it's supposed to be. A recreation spot, a food basket for those who live around it, and hopefully those who visit it. I know that when I was there were people fishing, but they were probably catching trout, or not local fish, and not native fish or anything, but introduced species. So basically now, the lake needs everyone to help, to get it back to life, to bring it back to life. And that's what the iwi have done. They have gone into a co-governance arrangement with DOC and the Environmental Department. And that's good, because they are also responsible for the condition of the lake. And so they realise, and I think probably everybody realises now, that everyone has got to collaborate and bring the lake back from its sad history. So everyone needs to help. So right now in 2024, we are the most aware generations, globally. Human beings on this planet are very, very aware of climate change and global warming. And what's that got to do with it? Well, the condition of our natural entities on the planet is waning, and that is affecting the climate, because everything is integrated. We are part of an ecosystem. The human being is part of an ecosystem. We are not special. We are not separate because we've got money and we've got a house to live in. We are part of that natural ecosystem. And if we let our natural entities die, we won't be here much longer. So they will need to all work in together in that area. The Environmental Department, the local councils, the local people, the iwi, Department of Conservation. They all have to work together to bring the river, to look at the river and see that the river's not being depleted as well, the river that feeds the lake, and to bring the lake back up to its best health, how it should be. And that's the plan, and that's the great plan. So the question is, will they live happily ever after? Well, if everyone helps out, the government, the councils, local people, iwi, the Department of Conservation, the Environmental Department, if everybody helps out, and it could be in any area, not just the South Wairarapa, but any area in New Zealand, then I am sure And I think we can all be sure that we will all live happily ever after. Yeah, so that's my little story. Because my story is informed by information, by reputable information, and I just thought it would be very interesting for you to hear. So I hope that everything is going well for you and that you're enjoying things. And so I have to leave you here. And all I can say is, whenever you go out there in nature, don't do any harm. And only leave your footprints. Nō reira, ngā mihi kia koutou, ka kite.